Oh, welcome to the Russ Joy Show. I'm Russ Joy. Figure that out because you're smart. It's also the name of the show, and I'm clearly not at home. Oh boy. Hello. Greetings to everybody. We are live from Tucson, Arizona. You want to see Tucson? Hold on. one Tucson. Here you go. Here's Tucson. Enjoy. Tucson, Arizona. Only here for probably another half hour. And then I hop in a car and drive down to Phoenix, and then I'm home. So it is a whirlwind couple of days here, but a lot to get to. We don't have a ton of time. It's going to be a short show today, but there are a couple of things we have to get to. If you were dozed off in your slumber last night, you probably missed the fact that the NHL had maybe the worst, and I mean the absolute worst, schedule drop in the history of schedule drops. While the NBA went and preemptively put out to their fans, even before the play-in games were played, what was going to happen, right? What the schedules would look like. Most notably, here's who the Celtics would play, here are the dates that the Celtics would play, depending on who they're going to match up against in the first round of the playoffs against the 7th seed. That schedule came out before the Sixers even tipped off their play-in game, okay? The NBA figured out how to do it. The NHL, meanwhile, if I remember correctly, and I'm doing the time exchange correctly, I think the schedule for the Flyers, at least, came out at 12:45 a.m. Eastern. 12:45 a.m. Eastern. That's when they thought the best time to drop the NHL schedule would be? Did they think that as people were all nestled, all snug in their beds, it was going to instill some kind of excitement? Are you kidding me? Absolute nonsense. Like legitimate lunacy. And also really just horrific marketing for the league. Now, we had to kind of bandy about now for, it was since Monday, the Flyers punched their ticket to the postseason by taking down the Carolina Hurricanes in a shootout. Ever since Monday, we've had to try to figure out, all right, what's the actual schedule going to be? And then we knew that there's the Florence and the Machine concert next Saturday. That could be a problem. We knew that the Sixers schedule had already effectively been released. I mean, as long as they were going to get that 7th seed, which they did. We'll talk about the Sixers and Celtics in a little bit. But for the better part of 4 days now, we have actively wondered when they're going to take the ice. And they let it come out a day or so ago that, oh, well, the first game is going to be Saturday in Pittsburgh. So everybody get excited for that. Sure, practically no time to prepare. It's not like it's an unbearable drive to go from Philly to Pittsburgh, but like if you're a Flyers fan, you want to get in. Not exactly ideal, not a lot of time. And then again, 12:45 a.m. Eastern is when this schedule finally dropped. So we may as well take a look at it, but it's not ideal, and it's certainly not ideal for me because I have a work trip to Colorado Monday through Wednesday. And as of right now, my flight isn't scheduled to land until 6:30 at night on Wednesday. So, yeah, not ideal. That trip was booked like a month and a half ago, and it looked like the Flyers had no chance of making the playoffs. And so now I'm in a bit of a pickle there, a little bit of a conundrum, if you will. Because that also means that we're likely going to be doing Snow the Goalie Radio at Chickies and Pete's in South Philly pregame. I don't know what time that'll start, 4:30 or 5, something like that. And as it stands right now, that'll be Ant and Bundy, no Russ. And that means pregame would be Ant, intern Andrew, and probably a guest. I won't be there. I'd be there by intermission. We'll see if the flight can change. But as of right now, not ideal. Not ideal. All right, so let's take a look. Let's take a goosey gander at the schedule. And again, aside from this being a logistical nightmare for yours truly, I think it's going to be okay. I don't totally hate the schedule. Let's dive in. Let me see. Somebody put out a better looking graphic. We'll go to the Flyers website. We'll give them the clicks today. How about we give them the clicks, guys? I think that's a nice idea. All right, so let's dive into, and it's actually pretty wild to see how many places you're going to be able to watch these games. All right, here we go. Let's see. Technology is different when you're on the road. All right, here we go. So Flyers schedule that released at 12:45 a.m. Eastern. Here it is for us to take a look at. All right, I'll take the comments down for a second. Series starts on Saturday at PPG Paints Arena. Oh my God. Shut up, Siri. Stop it. Because I said PPG? She thought that was Siri? What are we doing here? Anyway. Game 1 in Pittsburgh, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Okay. Game 2, Monday, Pittsburgh, ESPN, NBC Sports Philly. I guess I should know. Game 1 also NBC Sports Philly. Game 3, we had heard that it could have been Thursday. We heard that it could have been Wednesday. It ends up being Wednesday, so they've got the game Wednesday at 7 o'clock on TNT, True TV, HBO Max, NBC Sports Philly. I'm going to come back to that. Game 4, as you'll notice, quite a few days splitting up Game 3 and Game 4. Saturday, 8 o'clock, Xfinity Mobile Arena, and that's on TBS, True TV, HBO Max, and NBC Sports Philly. Game 5 goes back out to Pittsburgh. It'll be on ESPN. Game 6, if needed, ESPN. Game 7, if needed, back in Pittsburgh on a Saturday. So I got to tell you, when I look at the series, and we talked about this over on Snow the Goalie, so by all means, go back and check out the episode that we dropped on Wednesday night. We did Chickies and Pete's in Warrington, Pennsylvania. We had a great time. We had a really nice crowd out there, too, for that show. I would highly, highly encourage everyone who's watching right now to put on their positive Pete hat right now. I want you to embrace the positivity of making it back into the playoffs. I think that this is going to end up being a series that the Flyers can win, and I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be wrong, right? Like I'm confident that this is going to be wrong, and I'm totally buying into like too much positivity here. But like I could see Saturday's game being one where the Flyers kind of do what they did to the Canadiens on Tuesday, where this youthful, exuberant team playing with house money goes out and just kind of like sucker punches, right? Sucker punches Pittsburgh. And they skate away with a 1-0 series lead. And then game 2 on Monday, the pressure starts to fall on Pittsburgh because it's like, all right, well, we kind of lost home ice advantage. And I almost wonder if the Flyers can pull out game 2. Again, now I would not put money on the Flyers to go up 2-0 after 2 games. I wouldn't. But there is a part of me that thinks this series doesn't need to be nearly as competitive as people think it's going to be. I think that the advantage that the Flyers have in net is going to be the difference. But, so real quick, if I'm right, and if they were to win the first 2 games in Pittsburgh, could they lose game 3, the first game back in front of the home crowd in almost 8 years in the playoffs? Maybe. Then it's 2-1, you win game 4, you go out to Pittsburgh, maybe you get it done there. Like, I think that there's a non-zero chance this series could be 5 games. If I really had to put money on it, I think it goes 6 and the Flyers win. But I don't envision a scenario right now where the Flyers aren't able to win this series. And I think that goalie is going to be the ultimate determining factor. Shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. I think we all are pretty darn well aware that the Flyers have a legitimate chance of winning this thing because Dan Vladar has been better, more consistent, more reliable, just genuinely better this season than Stuart Skinner has been. So you've got that. And I think that advantage in net is why the series can end up being shorter than expected. That doesn't even include if the Flyers could somehow just kind of shake off everything that went wrong with special teams in the regular season, and they could somehow start to like convert the power play at a regular clip, the calculus on this series changes. And I think it changes in a big way. So we've got that. And I can go out to the comments here in a second. I'm trying to multitask here, and I'm also trying to make sure that the car that is supposed to take me to Phoenix, that the timing is still going to work out here. Can't miss the car to Phoenix, and then can't miss the flight from Phoenix home. So thanks for bearing with me today, everybody. I do appreciate it. All right, let's go out to the comments Nick Abe said, Russ, I need some negativity on the Sixers. Don't worry. We're about to get very negative on the Sixers. Maybe. Also asks, did you have In-N-Out? I did not. Drove past a few. It's so funny. There's a law office out here. It's Lerner and Rowe, I think it is. And they must be injury attorneys. And I swear to you that it's like every other mile going from Phoenix to Tucson. It's this yellow and black sign and those two guys. And it's like 4 or 5 different messages on these billboards. They must be rolling in Boku bucks and injury claims, like to an absurd degree. I can't believe how many signs they have here. Unfreaking believable. But no, I didn't have In-N-Out. Where did I go yesterday? So the hotel that I'm staying at is like practically on the campus of the University of Arizona. Or is it Arizona University? It doesn't matter. And I'm not typically like a big like walk through the campus kind of guy. And so I didn't do it this time either. But because I'm so close to the campus, there are like a million different places to eat around here. Found a really nice coffee shop. I found a nice pho place yesterday. And then I went on a very nice dinner with a client last night, which was a big part of the reason that we came out to Arizona. So it was a good time. Cool night. But no, I did not get to In-N-Out. Maybe next time. I wonder if there's probably not an In-N-Out at the airport. By the way, Phoenix's airport makes no sense to me. Phoenix's airport is like going back to the 90s and traveling. Like low ceilings, low pile or low ply or whatever the hell it is, carpet. Like I was going from one terminal to another yesterday, and I was like, this just felt like you were stuck in time. And they also Phoenix calls their airport like the friendliest airport on earth or the friendliest airport in the United States or something. And I'm like, I don't know if that's really, is that great marketing? Like, does that make you want to fly into Phoenix more? I can't say that it makes me want to fly into Phoenix again, but you know, it's a fine airport, I guess. Greg Bondarenko is here with a morning all. Happy Friday. Let's see. Nick Abe says, I know Russ misses Chickies and Pete's. You know, the one thing yesterday is I had planned on going to Chickies because I said I was going to at the airport. The line was unbelievable. Like there was no getting into Chickies and Pete's yesterday in Terminal A. Could not get in. Couldn't. And they didn't have the overflow area open. It was the morning, but like they didn't have nearly enough people. Jason Stutter, says, morning, Russ. Got my tickets this morning for Wednesday. Hopefully see you guys before the game with my son and I's Darth Vladar shirts. That's a great idea. Jason, good call. Hopefully you've ordered them already. There have been orders flying into shop.snowthegoalie.com, and I'm trying to get them processed as quickly as possible. I don't know how quickly we can get everything turned around, but it's usually pretty fast. So if you haven't yet ordered your shirt and you're planning on going to either of Game 3 or Game 4 next week, there's probably still time to get that in time. Let's see. Nick Abe points out I've got 2 beds. Yeah, I don't know. This is just how the company booked it. 2 beds. So you do the one bed where you put all your clothes, you lay everything out, and then you have the one that you sleep in. Yeah. Adam Gleekus is here. Let's go Flyers, he says. Tony Escargot has entered the chat. Says, God bless the schedule for being released. The dog days are over. The dog days are over. I see what you did there, because it's a Florence and the machine thing. I can't sing it right now. I don't think I have enough tenor in my voice right now to be able to do it. We're very bass. It's very early here. It's 6:37? 6:37. Tim Costello's here. Yo. Raymond Sepper says the term house money was used several years back when Tampa TV reporter casually threw it out to Torts. That didn't go well. I think that they very much are playing with house money, though. And I think it's okay that they say it. And by the way, the Ignite the Orange branding and everything that the Flyers are rolling with is fantastic. They hit it out of the park. MJ Bruno says, who will hit more threes in the Sixers Celtics series? Overrated Jaylen Brown or noted sniper Andre Drummond? AJ's here, calls me a world traveler. Glickus says, Rick Tocchet is taking the role of Mike Keenan. This is the right mixture, young and vets. All 4 lines are rolling. Coots accepting his role with Glenn Denning. Correct. Jim Cochran says, here's your guaranteed to hit 3-leg parlay brought to you by FanDuel. Flyers in 4. If Vladar gets his shutout, Crosby retires in shame. I think you'd have to go to a prediction market to get Crosby to retire. I'm pretty sure those odds are not available on a regular sports book. Let's see. K-Dub says Flyers by 1 million tomorrow. Says they're going to win the battle. Let's see. Martone is a magnet in the slot. We got Flyers in 4. Okay. Oh, there we go. Here, Jason. Got it right the first time. Studer. Saw them at the carnival. Love it. Poonugs is here with a yo. All right, so I know that because the show is abbreviated, we're not going to get into like the nitty-gritty of the series, but I kind of gave you my prediction. I do truly think that the Flyers win it in 6, but I want to ride the wave of positivity that they go into Pittsburgh and somehow win 2, and they win the series in 5. We got to get to the Sixers really quick. But before we do, I want to play the clip, and I'm assuming that all of you have seen this at this point, but one of the wildest bits of audio I have ever heard a coach put out, ever. It happened the other night. It happened with Rick Bowness, who's the coach of Columbus. And so hopefully, we're going to cross our fingers that this works. Rick Bowness was asked about his team, Columbus, finishing 2-8-1 to finish the season. And, I mean, he just eviscerated his squad, eviscerated the culture, and said he's going to change it if he's brought back, which we'll get to in a little bit here as well. But I want to go out to this, and you guys have to let me know in the comments whether or not you can hear it or not. In theory, you should be able to, but let me know.
Games in a lot of seasons. Have you ever been part of something that's as frustrating as this has been down the stretch?
There's a lot of emotion right there. A lot of emotion.
No. And you know what? All you got to do is look at the stat sheet. 3 hits, 23 giveaways. Like, I don't know if I'm back, but if I'm back, I'm changing this culture. These guys, they don't care. Losing is not important enough to them. It doesn't bother them. Like, how can you?
Patrick Laine said the same thing. Laine no longer plays with Columbus, but in the aftermath of this. No, it wasn't in the aftermath of this. It was when Laine first moved away from Columbus. He said something to the same general idea, that guys in Columbus aren't upset enough when they lose games.
Go out and play like that. Should have done this about a month ago. But this is why we are where we are. This is why we're out of the playoffs. That kind of effort. Losing, you have to hate losing. I don't care if it's a meaningless game. I don't care. Show up and compete. 3 hits, 23 giveaways. What else you want to know?
What else do you want to know? It's a minute of just fire, piss, vinegar, and a little dash of some borderline tears and quivering lip. Fantastic stuff.
Reached them for so long after you got here. How did it stop? Where did it stop?
Because it got tough. Because it got hard. Like we talked about.
That's a damning statement. Because it got hard. That's when they lost their way.
After the Olympic break, it's going to get harder. So everything's good as long as it's going their way. And now it gets tough. We don't want to battle back, and that's what's happened over the last couple weeks.
And I actually want to point this out really quickly because the Flyers and the Blue Jackets were both competing for that same 3rd spot in the Metropolitan Division, right? When all the chips were down, and when the Flyers hit that, the last 2 or 3 weeks of the Flyers schedule, there really weren't any cupcakes on, like, they didn't have, like, a lot of matchups against teams that were out of the playoff hunt. It felt like virtually every night that they played, there was a team that they were either competing with for a wild card spot or a spot in the Metropolitan, or a team that was jockeying for position in the Atlantic, and then you had a couple of games out west, including the Winnipeg game and all. But the Flyers stepped up their game. They didn't do what Columbus did.
That's all that's happened. We're going to change that. If I'm back, I don't know if I'm back. Don and I will talk. We'll get to that. But man, oh man, some of those guys are so lucky the season's over and there's no practice tomorrow. Anyways, there's no more games. What else you want to know?
I think even in the long history of this franchise, I
just love this. So here's the good news, right? If you watch that and we think about how coaches are held to a certain different standard, right? This dude nailed it. And he nailed the issue with his own team. And he was unapologetic in saying it and saying the hard part out loud. And kudos to him. Seriously, kudos to him. And how was he rewarded? He got an extension. So he's staying in Columbus. Now, is that good for the Flyers? Probably not. But I'm interested to see, culture-wise, what changes. Who's jettisoned? I will tell you this, though. With that amount of discord, because there's other stuff that I wanted to play for you, but I do have to run. There's a clip of Ivan Provorov getting asked his reaction to this, and like Provorov doesn't give a particularly good answer. And I kind of question how much discord is there in that locker room in Columbus. And if I'm Danny Briere and I'm already considering an offer sheet for Adam Fantilli, I 100% am throwing it down now. Without a doubt. I also probably want to do a little bit of research into, like, is Fantilli part of the problem or is he part of the proposed solution in Columbus? But like, this 100% gets me, if I'm Danny Briere, to throw down money. So, all right, so there you go. We'll come back around to more stuff with that maybe on Monday. All right, last thing that I wanted to get to really quickly, because I do have to go. I just got the notification. It's time to roll. The Sixers playoff schedule came out. I have to tell you that the other night, when the Sixers won their play-in game, I heard that there was this whole thing about we want Boston. And I was like, there can't be fans that are that stupid, that actively chose to chant we want Boston, especially knowing how poorly things have gone against the Celtics in recent memory. Here is your schedule for Sixers Celtics. And again, this came out before the Sixers even made the game. Boston versus the number 7 seed. Meanwhile, the NHL drops theirs at 12:45 a.m. Cool. So, in Boston for Game 1 on Sunday, in Boston for Game 2 on Tuesday, back in Philly, Game 3 on Friday, and then Sunday in Philly. If a Game 5 is needed, which it might not be, but if there is a Game 5, it'll be back in Boston on Tuesday the 28th. Somehow, if there's a Game 6 needed, it'll be April 30th in Philly. And if somehow, some way, this goes 7 games, which means that somebody on Boston, or maybe multiple somebodies from Boston, are like having a lobotomy. This ain't going 7 games. I have to tell you, I have no faith in this going well. But I will try really quickly. And I know that, Nick Abe likes me to play the negative card because he thinks that they play better when I'm negative. I'm actually intrigued by what this matchup looks like without Joel Embiid. I think the Sixers will be able to match the speed and athleticism of Boston much better without him. Would Embiid be an advantage at the center position? He would be. But, he's not available, despite what Skip Bayless says. He's not available coming off the appendectomy. I wouldn't want to rush him back. Now, if the Sixers put up a really competitive series against Boston, I don't actually know what competitive means. If they get this thing to a Game 6 or a Game 7, and then Embiid is available to play, I'm still not bringing him back. If this Sixers team is able to extend this series past a sweep and maybe have this thing at 2-2 or 3-2, I'm not bringing Embiid back this series. I would let the chips fall where they may, led by Maxey, Paul George, and Edgecombe. You live or die with that trio. And you figure out athletically, can they match up the way that I think they'll be able to. But man, oh man, that's going to be rough. I mean, absolutely rough. You know what's not going to be rough? Poonugs. Poonugs has a job interview. Good luck, Poonugs. You got this. And when you're done, you can share with the interviewer that you spent your morning with the Russ Joy Show. As many of you did, which is lovely, and I appreciate it. I do have to run. Car is here to go to Phoenix. So, 2 hours in the car to Phoenix. However many hours, 6 hours, 5 hours? From Phoenix to Philly. Looking forward to getting home. And I'm looking forward to maybe doing some bonus shows this weekend. especially after game 1 of Flyers Penguins on Saturday night. So keep your eyes and your ears out for a potential bonus episode of the show. Until Monday, or maybe Saturday night after game 1. This has been the Russ Joy Show, and I've been Russ Joy, but you knew that already because you're smart. It's also the name of the show. I'll talk to each and every one of you very soon. Don't forget, like the video, share the video, subscribe, and if you see clips over on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, give those a like. You can also find the show on the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to all of you soon here on the Russ Joy Show.